Hey guys, welcome back. It's Alex. I'm so glad that you could be here for another Flyball and Friends interview. Today I have a special guest, my team captain, Karen, and you know what? Let's not try and give her too hard of a time because you know what? I probably have some pretty embarrassing stories of her. So let's get right into it. If you guys are new here, make sure that you subscribe and hopefully get that notification bell as well, just to make sure that you get all the latest videos. And now let's get right into the interview. Here's Karen. Welcome, Karen. I'm so glad that you could take time out of your day to be here. I'm so happy to have the captain of our flyball team on here that I can ask you some personal questions. If you could start off with telling us a little bit about yourself.
I am club owner, captain of Diamonds in the Ruff in Saskatoon, and my profession, I'm a veterinarian, and I work at the Western College of Veterinary Medicine, so I'm a veterinarian and a professor.
Awesome. And how long have you been playing flyball for?
I have been playing flyball 1 year, well, not even 1 year, half a year longer than my oldest son, so he's 21.
That's awesome. And how many dogs do you guys have?
We have 7.
And how many are racing?
Finn, Flash, Mystic. That's it, right?
I think so.
And then Eclipse is really close. She was supposed to debut this year, and then we have a puppy.
Gordon.
We have Shazam. And then we have one that has never raced, who just not for him. And we have one retired.
Awesome. Okay, so now what got you playing flyball?
So I got my first dog, Lugnut, when I moved away from home and I moved out to my job in Saskatoon. And my first puppy, I should say. And so he came to me when he was about 5 weeks old, and I knew he was a Chesapeake Bay Retriever cross, or at least that's what the SPCA told me. And I was fostering him for a bit, and then I adopted him. And so as he grew, I sort of, I wanted to do puppy class. I had always seen agility on TV and things like that. I wanted to do agility with him. And so in my puppy class, I met Fern Brown, who knew how to play flyball, and she wanted to start a flyball club. And so she was telling me all about flyball. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And so I did both flyball and agility with Lug for a little bit. But then I discovered that Lug really hated agility because they changed the course on him all the time. But flyball is the same again and again. So he loved flyball. It was his thing. So eventually, I did try really, really hard to play agility with him for several years. But eventually I listened to him and I went, okay, we're just going to play flyball.
That's awesome. Okay, so now when you first started and you went to some tournaments and stuff, was there a dog out there that you just loved that maybe got you hooked on the sport?
I don't know if there was a specific dog. I just remember, when I started, just the variety of dogs. It was amazing. There were certainly some dogs that really stayed with me that I remember. One was Lexi, Barry Freeman's Dalmatian, right? And I think it was because you just didn't see very many Dalmatians at all. And then to see one playing flyball, and she was so athletic and she was a super fun dog. And I remember Sue Williams Streak playing flyball, but I think it was more because I remembered her.
Yeah.
And so I watched her because I remember her.
That's cool. Okay. So now, do you go to a lot of tournaments yourself?
Yes, everyone that my team wants to go to, pretty much I try and go to. There's the odd time where I have other commitments where I can maybe go for part of the weekend and then I have to fly out of wherever to get to another meeting or something like that. But I do my best to try and go to every single tournament we go to.
And then when you can't make it, you send Bob.
Yes, and if I can't make it, I send Bob, or sometimes I send Kate. Yeah, like I feel like our dogs have, are part of the team and need to be there for the team, even if I can't be there.
Awesome. Okay, so now what is the furthest you've been for Flyball?
So the furthest I've been is Can-Am in Indianapolis.
Excellent. Okay, so when you first started playing Flyball, was there something that stuck to you to this day and probably one of the more important things you learned?
Oh, there are so many things. So let me talk a little bit about Lug, because he was not your typical Flyball dog, right? He was a Chesapeake Bay Retriever, and he was probably crossed with a Great Dane. So he was a big boy, and not the fastest. And when we learned, we did everything wrong. So my very first tournament is really, I can never forget that, because we went with a team of 6 dogs, I think, and our team had never seen another lane. That was not good. But I actually had an antisocial dog, and he was very aloof like the Great Dane, so he didn't really care about the dogs in the other lane. But what he did care about was the person sitting in the seat by the lane and the judge who was standing there, and there were these people he didn't know. And so he actually, the first day, he would go down to the box, he'd get his ball, he would come on his way back, and then he'd be worried about the person sitting in the chair, and he didn't really want to cross the start line. So, and then my team also had to learn that we all had to go to the very back of the lane so that he had enough space without people in his space to cross that line. So, eventually he got over it and he became a fantastic Flyball dog, but it was just that, all these things we didn't know when we went to our first, and so it was like a brand new team. I think Fern was the only one who'd done it a little bit, and so we really had no idea. And so, that sticks in your mind. But the things that I do remember that are really good was how welcoming people were. We got a special prize at the end. I don't know if Anya felt sorry for us. It was the Rough Riders tournament in Craven, and so she gave us all prizes. So I remember that. I really remember that. A lot of people were giving us advice. There was one guy who told us we did it all wrong, which we kind of knew. But most people were very supportive and encouraging, and the other thing was the shaking of the hands at the end of the race, right? And I was just so impressed by what an amazing community it was, right? And so I think that, that really stuck with me, and probably one of the reasons why I stuck with Flyball was because of the community and how fun and encouraging that people were. And so this was in November, and I was actually pregnant with Max. And so then we had Max, and then the next spring we went to a tournament, and Max was a baby, and we met Kurt and Mona and their baby, and they were born on the same day. Their daughter was born on the same day as Max. So that was, so obviously that sticks with you too, right? But yeah, so those are the first things I remember. And I should say, that really struggling through those first years, I'll say years, Lug earned his first 5,000 points, 5 points at a time, and really struggling through those first years and trying to figure out how to play the game. In the end, I think it made me a better teammate.
That's good. That's well put. It gives you the patience, right, to help out others and being able to stick through the tough trains.
Yeah, and also being wanting to learn more, wanting to learn how to do it right. We had a 1-hole box that had a hole in the middle, And so obviously our box turns weren't good. And I guess I did spend a little bit of time trying to fix my box turn on Lug, but realistically it wasn't going to happen. One, his size, I think that, and he'd already learned it one way, and given he didn't like changes, it would have been a lot of stress on him. I mean, we tried a little bit, but, you know, maybe it got better a little bit. But it was okay to move forward with it not being perfect, but knowing that it wasn't perfect meant I wanted to know more about how to train. And so I attended tons of seminars, I talked to tons of people, I watched people and their dogs and how they trained and how they warmed up and things like that. And sometimes it was like, I want to do it that way. Or sometimes it was like, I don't want to do it that way. That's not what I would do in that situation, right? So
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else that you like about playing flyball?
I love everything about flyball. Really, I love the competition. There's nothing better, and it doesn't matter how fast or slow your dog or team is. There is nothing better about having a race that's close. Whether there are mistakes in it and you have to redo, you know, resend your dog to try and win the heat, or whether you're really competing and you're trying to get your passes as close as you can, and you know, when you have to look at the clock to know who won. That's my favorite time during flyball. But it's also being part of a team and the laughs and the fun that we have during the day. The fact that it's with my dogs who I enjoy so much and they make me laugh. And so, you know, it's all of that together.
Awesome. Okay, now, is there a certain team or maybe person that you love racing against more?
You know, it's actually not me personally. It's our club. That there are teams that I like watching our top team run against, and it's because they give my son who runs Flash, who's the lead dog, a hard time. And so I really enjoy the way that they welcome Kate to the sport, and the way that they tease him and they push him to be a little bit better. And so that would be like MPP and Redline with Kurt, and you know, and they you know, they razz him a little bit about his starts when they're not good, and they you know, but they also push his starts to get a lot better too. So I really enjoy watching that. But you know, as I said, anytime it's close, it doesn't matter what the team is. I enjoy that part.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so now the tough question for you: is there a dog out of all of your racing career, whether it's yours or somebody else's dog, is there one that you enjoyed running over any other ones?
I love racing, you know, racing them all, but I would say Lug, because he was my first dog. There were so many things that he taught me about playing the game, and he was not fast. He, you know, if we got into the low five, we were doing good, but he loved the game. And so it, you know, it didn't matter where we were or what we were doing. Like, he was always consistent, and because he taught me a lot, and maybe because he wasn't that fast, I also learned to be a good teammate. And then there's Mystic too, right? I mean, she's perfect all the time. I don't know how to say anything else. I'm glad she wasn't my first dog, because it would have been really hard every dog after that. But she, you know, she's just one of those dogs that's like, gets up in the morning and like, what do you want me to do for you today? And she, you know, I almost believe that I could just kind of drop her off and she could take herself to the lanes and set herself up and run herself. And I mean, I'm there holding her or the leash or whatever, but she is such a good dog, and maybe because she was also the first dog I had that ran under 4. You know, you remember those moments where you've kind of hit a milestone and you've gone one step further.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so now what would be one of your favorite memories of flyball? It might even be off the racing lanes.
again, I have to come back to Lug. So when, we started, he, not knowing anything, he earned his first 5,000 points, 5 points at a time. He was a consistent dog, and he got his Onyx in Saskatoon, and he was the first dog in Saskatoon ever to get an Onyx. So that was amazing. And then the other thing is that I was pregnant with my second child, Kate, and it was a scheduled C-section. And so they wanted to schedule it on the Friday before the tournament. And I was like, no, my dog is going to get his Onyx. We are not going to be in hospital over the weekend. We can wait. And so I had Kate the Monday after. So you kind of remember those things. So they're favorite for many reasons. And and then, another, you always remember breaking records, right? Your club doing better at breaking records. Every time we break a record, those are always special moments.
Awesome. Okay, so do you have any personal goals playing the sport?
I want to grow Flyball. I want to grow our team. I want to celebrate the successes of my teammates. I mean, that's super important to me. Having people succeed, having people make it from, maybe taking a class or just being in practice for a really long time and getting to that first turn. That's always a goal for me. Having my dogs race well. And yeah, a little bit of me would really like it if we could get into the 14s. Just because that is so cool. And it's also, when we practice and the way that we do things, it doesn't matter what kind of dog you have, right? It's just that, you want your dog to be the best that they can be. So if we can have a bunch of dogs that are the best that they can be on a day and make that milestone, that's pretty special.
That's for sure. Okay, so do you have anyone in Flyball right now, or maybe when you even first started, that you look up to as a mentor?
Katie Kaler. I took a seminar from her, taken seminars from lots and lots of different people. And so I went to Edmonton. They were hosting in Edmonton, and we went to this seminar, and I just found it really, like, every time you go to a seminar, you learn something new, but I learned a lot new from that seminar. And I had been playing Flyball for quite some time at that point. So it was kind of really interesting to see some of those different ways of doing things. And some of them were so common sense and like, oh my God, why haven't we thought of that before? And so over the years, we've become really good friends. We actually hosted a seminar and had Touch and Go come here. And then I actually go to a vet conference almost every year in Las Vegas. And so while I'm there, I go and visit her and her team, and we actually spend a day shopping. And so just being able to talk to someone who's outside of this Flyball community, and to be able to talk about training or go to a practice and see some of the things that they're doing. And I just, having that friendship develop and being able to talk to her about things like that, it has been amazing.
Awesome. I had a big speech for if it was me, but it's fine. I can say it another time. All right. So do you have any hobbies outside of playing Flyball?
Yeah. I sew a lot. I love to take perfectly good fabric and cut it up into little pieces and sew it back together again. So I quilt. I sew things for tournaments. I just find that it's that time where I can forget things and walk away from things and be peaceful. But I read, although I'm actually listening to a lot of books too. So I've always loved reading, but being able to do two things at the same time is actually better for me. So I can immerse myself in that. I don't know if you'd call it a hobby or not, but I am part of a great rescue in Saskatoon called New Hope Dog Rescue. And so, you know, I'm part of the board. I try and do things as much as I can with that organization. And we foster occasionally as well.
Awesome. So you're busy.
I don't like not to be busy. So if you know, if I can't find something to do, that is a little surprising.
That's cool. All right. So now, is there anything that you would recommend to someone starting out in flyball?
Yeah. Do it for one. It's fun. The community is amazing. But, you know, more than anything, you know, don't have these expectations like oh, my dog is going to be the best. My dog is going to be the fastest, because you don't know. You know, again, circling back to Lug, he really taught me that you need to have patience. You need to watch and listen to what's going on. I mean, you can train your dog in isolation, I guess, but there is no one way to train a dog. They are all different. They all have different personalities. They all come with a different background. And I'm constantly telling people, don't compare your dog to someone else's dog, because it's not the same dog. It's not. It would be like saying, you know, comparing me to someone else. We're not the same people, and to put us, you know, so it's not really a fair thing to do, right? And so just your dog is going to be the best that your dog can be. And that dog has come with a different bunch of circumstances, some training. You have different knowledge. You may have trained your dog before you got there, or maybe this is the first thing you do with your dog. And just, you know, learn and go with it and enjoy every moment. And if, you know, and don't be disappointed, right? If your dog runs low fives, then your dog runs low fives, but they're doing the best that they can do. And enjoy it. And if you're not happy with that, if you want your dog to be faster, don't put that pressure on that dog. Get another dog, right? I mean, it's, you know, like I say, your dog is going to do the best that they can do, and build that relationship and enjoy every single moment with them.
Awesome. That's a good way to put it. I like that. Thanks, Karen.
Okay,
well, that's all the questions I have. Karen, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with me. I'm so glad that I could speak to the captain, the head honcho of our team, and share your stories with everyone. Other than that, hopefully we'll get back on the racing lanes again real soon, and we'll see each other real soon. Thanks again, Karen. So glad that you could be here with me today. You know, it's been so long since I've seen you. I'm glad that you didn't bring up any embarrassing stories of me. I know you've seen me since a little kid playing flyball. So if you guys are new here, make sure that you're subscribing. Or if you've been watching all these videos and you aren't subscribed, make sure you do so. It's the only way this sport is going to keep growing. Until next time, guys, see you then.